Why do marketing companies sometimes only talk about the money that they've been able to make a company, but then the marketing people understand? I'm like, do people forget that the whole job of marketing is to make a company more money, or to create more awareness on a product that is eventually going to turn into profitability? So it's just a conversation of marketing is so important, and we've even had a conversation about this, is like marketing can show up in so many different aspects, whether that be through video, through email marketing, through, affiliate marketing. There's so many ways of marketing that people don't even understand 3% of what marketing is. Yeah. And so it's just so funny to see sometimes entrepreneurs complaining about marketers just talking about numbers, when that's literally what our job is to make a company more money, or to make a company more profitable in some kind of aspect or area. Hello you guys, and welcome back. My name is Jasmine.
My name is Matthew.
And we are the 1% Better Everyday podcast. Don't forget, you guys can listen to us on Anchor, watch us on YouTube. Today we wanted to talk about our personal journey through content. So in the last episode, you guys saw how the YouTube or the podcast is still going to be like a space where we just talk about like our own personal experiences, because we don't want to be teaching too much, because that's what our other calls are for.
So make sure you join our school community.
Yeah, so make sure you guys join our school community. Our school community is more so where you guys can learn how we created a website, how, we create our content, how we come up with our content strategy, how we, film our YouTube videos. So it's really where you guys get to see more behind the scenes and actually learn hands-on the material. And the podcast is more so where you guys can just listen to some of the conversations that we're going through on a week-by-week basis. But if you want to go ahead and start, how did you get into content? Because I know at a certain point, you weren't even on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
I think it really started with college, when I went to the Art Institute of Cincinnati.
Are you a service-based entrepreneur that provides some kind of service, but you don't know how to create content in order to convert someone from following you into a paying client? I'm going to tell you exactly what to post in order to start generating more leads, attract high-paying clients, and get more DMs than you can possibly answer. I will help you how to find your niche, how to find your target audience, and craft offers that will attract top buyers every time you go to make a post. Text me content to 513-516-7332 to learn more on how you can get mentored by me for only $99 a month.
My first and second year I was in college, they talked about digital marketing. And when they were talking about digital marketing, they related to what they were teaching us. So they were teaching us about corporate artwork, which related to marketing, which in order for corporate marketing to go out, they needed a media person to create that marketing and those pieces like that. So that's where it really originated from. And then with me just working in corporate offices, I was able to talk to marketing teams. Even when we was at WorldPay, I used to go down to where human resources was, and it was people in marketing, and I would talk to them about that. As I progressed within what I wanted to do with my business, I started my Instagram. I started everything, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of that business in 2019. And that's when I really started taking it seriously.
Yeah, and you just made me think of something so important, but I think we've always been so curious, and that's what I realized, that a lot of employees or just people that work at those companies, you can become just so conditional, come in and get out, that you don't even stop and ask questions about the company that you're working for, the culture. And I think with us, you were always so curious about everything. And I remember you even got to go to wasn't it a Bengals game or something? Or
yeah, even more. So that's another thing that relates back to digital content and creation and stuff like that. Just being at WorldPay and FIS, because I attacked the things that I was so interested in, I was able to see all the stuff that went on behind the scenes. So I ended up going to a Bengals event in Cincinnati, Ohio, due to my curiosity and the stuff that I wanted to learn at my job when I was in that group, WAC, which was working something. Yeah. But because of that, that started with me taking behind the scenes photos and doing behind the scenes videos of like events where we was at and stuff like that. That's where my curiosity had kicked in at with the digital media thing. So just seeing that and seeing the stuff that really goes on and how much money that goes in with corporate, that just like made me realize like I'm in marketing, and that it's a lot of money in marketing. It's a lot of money to be made.
And just because companies are always going to need marketing, and like there was this this debate on Threads this week that I saw, and this entrepreneur was saying like, you know, why do marketing companies sometimes only talk about the money that they've been able to make a company, but then the marketing people understand? And I'm like, do people forget that the whole job of marketing is to make a company more money? Or to create more awareness on a product that is eventually going to turn into profitability. So it's just a conversation of marketing is so important. And like, you know, we've even had a conversation about this, is like marketing can show up in so many different aspects, whether that be through video, through email marketing, through, you know, affiliate marketing. There's so many ways of marketing that people don't even understand 3% of what marketing is.
Yeah.
And so it's just so funny to see sometimes entrepreneurs complaining about marketers just talking about numbers, when that's literally what our job is to make a company more money, or to make a company more profitable in some kind of aspect or area.
That reach and that exposure, and that's what turned into social media. So that's when in 2019, that's when I had started all my social media accounts for my business, because I knew that was a not necessarily cheap, but a free option and route to increase exposure for my business.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And going back to that, I mean, that's really why I even started my own content journey, and I even started creating more content, was for people to like learn some of the things that I had to learn when I didn't even know. Like, for example, like a lot of people don't understand marketing. That's why I created social media posts, so that way other people understand like, hey, what is marketing? What does marketing even mean? Like, you know, how do you create content? Because again, these are things that like we had to look up on our own. So that's why we love doing more educational content, because again, you guys get to learn from it. And I'm a firm believer, like I've always studied like my whole life, like I've always been a bookworm, and I'm just a firm believer that when you study, or when you make the time to just practice something over and over again, like you get better at it. And I feel like studying is just something that's going to follow you through your whole life. Like I don't think I would ever stop learning something. So yeah, that's really why I started my content.
Yeah, and more importantly, just what you, feeding off of what you just said, was teaching people, because we get so many real life scenarios of people like actually asking us questions about stuff that we do, and we get a lot of people asking us questions about stuff that we love to do. We was able to create and pave our way through content and media by being able to teach people how to do the stuff that we love and know how to do, because we know so many people ask us for it. We got it available to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even with my content, like your content is always going to change, because I remember at the beginning with my content, like it was like more like graphic designs, and it was like more business posts, and it was more like Spanish translations, because that's really where I started creating my content, was to teach other people how to say certain words in Spanish or English. And then more people started asking me like, how are you creating your content? How are you creating your posts? How are you doing this? And that's when I started going more down like the social media lane. But it just goes to show that your content is going to be forever evolving based on the person that you are. Like it's not always going to be the same. And I think some people get in their head, and then like they have to, especially when you're like a beginner, or when you're first starting with your content. Like I see a lot of people want to have like this perfect strategy, or they want to, you know, find perfect formula to have like viral reels. And at the beginning, it's really not about that. That's what me and Matt always say, is that it has to be about like you being consistent and you just creating the content and putting it out there, because that in itself is practice. So that way you can start to see, like, does your audience like the content? Does your audience resonate? Are people commenting? Because what if you post it and then it gets like 20 comments, and in your head, you know, you thought nobody would have ever related to this piece of content?
Yeah, when did you realize that you needed to start making content for yourself and posting on social media?
I don't know. I feel like I've always been drawn to content. Like I've always loved social media, and I talk about it since the beginning. Is like, I remember back then I would use, when I was like 14, 15, and I worked at my dad's restaurant, like I would use social media to share like me working at the restaurant, or me getting ready, to my cousins in Mexico, because my cousins didn't really have another way for us to stay connected besides Facebook. Matt, I need your help growing my social media audience.
All right, guys, if you need help growing your social media audience, make sure you text 602-390-7002. Once again, it's 602-390-7002.
And then they would look at our pictures and they would be commenting from Mexico and stuff like that. And I don't even know what made me start my Instagram. I don't know what made me start my Instagram. I think people were just downloading it and I started posting photos. And then going into that, were you posting business content on your Instagram?
Always.
Really?
Yeah, from the beginning.
I don't know what made me start posting business content. I don't even know what made me start the organization Instagram.
Yeah.
Because I started an organization, a nonprofit, so I could get the community to volunteer more. And then I started the Instagram because I wanted to see like how can I get more people involved, and I naturally was just like, oh, let me start an Instagram for it.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it twice. I was just like, it's a free platform,
Yeah.
you know, because it's on your iPhone. And then from there, I think when I started the organizations page, and then I started realizing that people were actually doing this as a job, I was like, oh, like it's natural because we grew up with it, but it's definitely evolved a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, what's so crazy how involved my shit has been is we even revamped my page. Remember, I deleted all my posts and started all over?
Oh my God,
like,
you did.
I don't think people realize, like, just because you get on social media don't mean you're going to get immediate success. Like, it's going to be a full journey, and that journey might have to restart, or that journey might have to shift. Like, it just depends on what's going on around the world and at the time, and what you can do to provide and help out with other people. That's going to be your shift in your journey of your social media content.
Yeah. And something I was even telling my friend yesterday when we went to lunch was that, you know, your content is where you can have fun with it. Like, a lot of people
don't embrace their journey.
Almost treat it like just like a job. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't wait to get paid. And if that's all you're making content for, just to get the money, like I always say, you're going to get burned out because you're not really enjoying it. And so I was telling her, like, you have to have fun with it. And a lot of people, you know, always say, like, you know, I just don't like how social media can be like so fake, or what's the word they use? Like,
It's a game. They don't know how to play it.
they use a specific word. Like, a lot of people say that it's like so, like painting a picture.
Manufactured.
Yeah, painting a picture. But that's what I always tell them. Like, you are attracting that algorithm. Like, if the algorithm is just showing you like people that are, you know, making all these wins, isn't that a good thing? Because it's almost like you're attracting that. Like, you're attracting people who are celebrating wins. So instead of you feeling like, oh, they're just faking it, or that's your perspective. That's almost your perspective. Like, you think they're faking it. Like, you don't even realize maybe some of like the stuff that happened behind the scenes in order for them to be celebrating that win on Instagram. So that's why I always tell people, like, take everything with a grain of salt, but at the same time, like, your algorithm is just based on your perspective and your mindset and your thoughts and what you're liking and what you're not liking, what you're commenting. I mean, it's the same thing in life. Like, your thoughts dictate your life. So your thoughts are going to dictate who you follow. Like, if you follow like a lot of basketball pages, or if you follow like a lot of, you know, let's just say like naked girls, or if you follow like a lot of mom stuff, like, it's going to show you that, because that's based on your thoughts and what you're following, if that makes sense.
What you're clicking on, and what
Yeah.
you're touching, and what you're scrolling past, and what you're liking, what you're commenting on, all that stuff. With that being said, you also have to understand that whatever content you put out is what you attract as well. So not only is the stuff that you
Yeah.
comment and liking and sharing and stuff, but also the stuff that you put out as well. So if you're trying to put out content for the basis of attracting businesses, then you need to make sure your content that you're putting out is speaking to those type of business owners. So that's when I say that journey of everybody's social media content is different. It's because everybody goes through a different journey in their life, especially if you're an entrepreneur or not, or you just like a person that just want to be chill on the internet. Like, you still gonna go through a journey of that social media content being posted.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And yeah, and I would say, like, going back to that, it's also like, who are you engaging with, and like who do you attract with your page through your content. So if you want to attract like a lot of moms, then, you know, talk to that specific niche of moms. And again, going back to our content journey, you're not going to even really know what your niche is until you start putting content out there. So you just have to try something and see what works and see what doesn't, because again, you're only going to learn through experience. Like, you can read a book, you can read all the strategies in the world, but you're never going to learn something unless you go through the experience of actually doing it and seeing if it works or not.
Yeah. What's your go-to social media platform right now?
Right now it's definitely Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
YouTube for sure.
Yeah.
I remember, and another thing that inspired me on my content journey is YouTube. I've been watching YouTube for so long and going to YouTube for information for so long. I knew that I had a lot of information that people always ask me about and that I need to share. And by being able to give back to the community, it also rewards me as well, because I'm teaching so many people, and I'm also changing people's lives by putting out the type of content that they need in order to achieve their goals. So it's like it's just replicating.
And I was gonna say, also make your content fun, because I feel like that's like, you have to have, any content creator I feel like is creating content because in some shape or form they love either editing, like they love the graphic design, like they love some kind of like creative aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so if you're a content creator, like you're gonna start to realize what you like better. For example, like I love YouTube because you can upload long form content, and long form content is like usually when it's like horizontal videos and they're like 5 minutes to even longer. But again, I love YouTube because I think through the vlogs, like those are like the more fun aspect videos where I can genuinely just like talk to people and show people things that I had to learn, and people always like tell me like, oh, like I can relate, or I learned so much through that. So it just goes back to make it fun and make it whatever you feel comfortable with, because at the end of the day, you're not, again, if you're just doing social media for the money, you're going to get burned out, but nobody's also forcing you to do social media. So if you're going to do social media, like make it fun and make it you, and just make it authentic.
Make content fun again.
Yeah.
Because people be so wrapped up in the perfectionism of what needs to go out for their business, and nothing is ever going to be perfect, and that's why it's always the goal of staying consistent instead of being perfect. Like, if you can outlast the doubts in your head, if you can outlast the haters,
the days where you get 0 likes,
boom,
0 comments,
0 views,
0
like,
shares,
0,
like those days are going to happen, and everybody has started there, and you just have to keep going, because your audience will eventually, come to your page after you start getting the credibility that you've been posting so much content in that specific category. So at the beginning, it's almost natural for nobody to come to your page, because the internet doesn't know you yet. The internet doesn't have a track record of you. The internet doesn't have like a digital footprint. Like, they don't even know that you've ever been creating content, or who you are, or what kind of content you've been making, because you've never done that before. So until you can build like your digital footprint and your authority on the internet, then that's when you're going to start seeing more people, because then more people are going to become interested, and then by more people becoming interested, they're going to go back to old videos and they're going to be like, oh, let me see what she's talking about. So that's why I always say, like, your content, if you're making content, it should also be, 1, if it's fun, 2, to help your business, or 3, as like, I almost treat it like a what is it called, like a stock, like a Bitcoin, because it's an investment. Like,
portfolio.
people are always going to come back to that video. And even if some of the Instagram updates change, even if some of the content strategies change, it's almost like the framework is always going to be the same. Like, people are always going to go back to those videos because there's something in that video that can help them with that program, or with that process, or with that system. So anyways, yeah, content is just, especially educational content. Like I said, educational content will never
go away.
Yeah, it will never go away, because people love to learn. As humans, like, we have this this innate, what is it called, like, want in us to always learn. Like, humans were not made to just stay the same. Like, humans are here to adapt and to grow.
Yeah. And that's speaking of growing, on that journey, you're gonna grow as a person too. So the type of content that you want to put out might change. The type of audience that you want to attract might change. But again, the most important thing is actually going through that journey. So what do you think is next, like, the next 5 years in social media content? Like, are we gonna have a new platform to be on? Like, is it gonna all explode? Like, what do you think is gonna happen in the next 5 years?
That's interesting. I don't know what's gonna happen. Honestly, I just feel like there's so many changes happening nowadays that it's like hard to keep track.
Like threads, like the one from
But
Instagram, threads, Twitter.
yeah, I mean
like,
that's been normal. It's like competitors studying each other and trying to be like each other. But I think the next thing is really going to be like AI or some kind of like 3D thing happening. Like, what if... Are you a service-based entrepreneur that provides some kind of service, but you don't know how to create content in order to convert someone from following you into a paying client? I'm going to tell you exactly what to post in order to start generating more leads, attract high-paying clients, and get more DMs than you can possibly answer. I will help you how to find your niche, how to find your target audience, and craft offers that will attract top buyers every time you go to make a post. Text me content to 513-516-7332 to learn more on how you can get mentored by me for only $99 a month. Like, maybe there's more like on the tech world, but what if they come up with like an iPhone, and then the iPhone, it's like the movies where it's like the screen like pops up, but it's like the human face. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, as content creators and for people to have actually skills, like, we have to be ready for whatever the next thing is going to come, because social media has been around for so long. Like, something's going to happen big.
I was just going to say, sorry not to cut you off.
What?
I just thought of a really good topic. We should do another episode on the negative side effects of social media and content creation.
Okay, remember
I
that.
don't think a lot of people talk about that. Like, also
And
with content
pack it up and
creation,
save it.
I just want to save it. Like, be really careful with what you're posting on the internet, because I know that I tend to show a lot of my life. But one thing I don't show, like, if you guys realize, is my house where we live-ish, kind of. Like, I never say where we live, or, yeah. But you just want to be very careful, because people are weird. Like,
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
Again, answer the question.
What was the question?
The next 5 years, what do you see in the next 5 years happening in social
Yeah,
media?
I definitely think more AI stuff, more
What does that mean?
AI stuff in the terms of, like, the other day I went to this Instagram page, and it was a model, but when I went to the model's Instagram, it literally said AI Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was somebody's face, but it was this girl modeling, so the girl modeling was AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the brand had hired the AI page, or I don't know if they made the AI page just for that photo shoot. And then she looks so real, but it was an AI model. So I don't know if that's going to affect some kind of like industries or jobs, because maybe models won't be used as much, and that could affect certain industries.
I think it's attention is attention.
Yeah.
The whole reason why we're posting content on social media is to gain people's attention.
Or it might make more jobs for people. I don't know. I think that AI is just going to come in and take over in a lot of ways that we don't even...
I feel like it's already here.
We don't even
and a
foresee
lot of the AI stuff is automation. Like, a lot of some of it could be content creation, but excuse me, I feel like a lot of it is automation.
But
like,
it's also kind of, we got like a couple minutes here left, but it's also kind of scary how much a lot of the things that we're making in tech is because we're so impatient as human beings. Like, we want everything.
But you just
want everything fast. We want everything now. Like, we want everything now.
You
like,
just said that we love to learn, so like, with that, taking that in consideration, like, the learning plus wanting to have stuff quicker is like naturally bound to happen because we learn so fast.
That's true. Everything has a good and a bad side. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we got, with social media content and our journeys, we've learned that there's multiple different types of media that can be used in social media accounts. Describe to them what type of media we've been creating for the past 4 to 5 years in order to show up on social media.
Okay, well, I'm going to touch on this really quick because we only got like a couple more minutes, but we'll cover that in another video. But usually it's more 80% value. Like, 80% of your content should be value content, meaning that you're solving a problem. I'm looking for the shout out for this week, because we wanted to shout out somebody that commented on our video. But to answer the question, it should be like 80% value. So 80% of the time you're educating your audience on something that you're teaching them or you're solving a problem. And then the other 20% of the time it should be like inspirational content. Like how is somebody getting inspired by you sharing your story? And then trust and authority, which trust and authority just means like, are you showcasing like a client win or, maybe your journey from where you started to where you are now. It just means that you're building some kind of authority with your audience. And then interactive content, which is so important, which is like polls and quizzes and just asking them things. And, sometimes on Instagram, you can do the Q&A where you ask them like, hey, send me questions and stuff like that, because you want to interact with them. And at the end of the day, your audience is the heart of your business. But we wanted to shout out Tony Medina 922. He said, love your Spanglish, got you a new subscriber. Thank you so much for commenting on our last video. We just wanted to give you a shout out because it really, really means a lot that he commented that on our podcast in Mexico with, it's not the one with my mom, but it's the one where,
part one.
Yeah, where I was talking a lot of Spanglish. So that's just really how I normally talk. So it was just so funny that that it like somebody like loved that video because of it. But okay, hot topic of the week. We want to answer this really quick and then we are going to go ahead and close out. So this question was actually on Reddit and somebody asked, my name is Elizabeth. I am in the coloring book business, hoping to move into writing and illustrating children's books in the future. I am on TikTok and Instagram, but find it very difficult to post content and get people to engage with me. I have looked up what other people are doing and try to copy them without stealing their ideas. Of course, this business means so much to me and I know it has, taken so long, but I do feel like that I could be doing more. What tips, or I would appreciate any support.
Want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
Well, first I would need to know how often are you showing up on business? What's your outreach looking like? And are you doing anything to engage with other people? Because usually it boils down to consistency and people trusting your vision. If you're not showing up consistently for enough for people to want to purchase from you or inquire about you, then you're not going to be a trustworthy business to do business with.
So true. So true. And I want to add that she said, I find it very difficult for people to get people to engage with me. Like what he said, are you engaging with them? Who is buying these books? It sounds like since she's making children's coloring books, it would be for children, I imagine. So who would be buying them? It would be moms. It would be families. It would be
schools.
Schools. So I would be following those pages. Are you following local schools? Are you following moms? Are you, when she was going to other people's pages, was she looking at their comments? And then at their comments, she was following those people. So there's a lot of ways for you to touch that audience, because you can't always be waiting for them to come to you. You have to go out and, like you said, do the outreach by following them, commenting on their posts. The easiest way would be to just follow a bunch of moms and see, and just tell them like, hey, I have this book coming out, like would love it and appreciate your support. I assure you so many people would be on her post in almost 10 minutes if she did that. That was everything for today's episode. Let me know down below if you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know down below if you guys like the hot topic and the shout out of the week. Don't forget to comment down below so that way we can shout you guys out in the next episode. But again, my name is Jasmine.
My name is Matthew.
And we are the 1% Better Everyday podcast. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Peace.